Kurdistan and the Kurds. On Kurdistan, it is a nation within the region of the Middle East and is spread between Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria. It is inhabited by the Kurdish people, which are an Iranian ethnic group. The Kurds make up the majority of the population of eastern Turkey, northern Iraq, and Syria. Having been the ethnic minorities of these countries under oppressive regimes, the Kurdish people have undergone tremendous strife and hardships, which has led them to their struggle for an independent country of their own. The Kurds in Turkey specifically make up between 17 to 25% of the population. They are found mainly in the eastern regions, and there they have a very strong voting bloc. Historically, since the fall of the Ottoman Empire, they have been heavily discriminated against, and this has resulted in a very violent conflict between the Kurds and the Turkish government. The Turkish oppression of the Kurds and the Kurdish-Turkish War. Since 1984, there has been an ongoing conflict between the Turkish government and the Kurdistan Workers' Party. The Kurdistan Workers' Party and their allies have been fighting to liberate Kurdistan of the Turkish rule and to achieve their final goal of an independent Kurdistan. The Turkish government has shown on many occasions they are willing to use extreme and extensive force in order to beat the separatists back. The conflict has resulted in an estimated 45,000 deaths and over 3 million people being displaced, and this has led to a large amount of tension being built between the Kurds and the Turks. The political climate in Turkey right now is very uneasy. Erdogan's more conservative Islamic policies have been met with a strong backlash from the more liberal and urbanized population in Turkey. As well, the conflict in Syria with ISIL has left Turkey flooded with refugees. All these factors have left the political atmosphere in Turkey very uneasy. Erdogan's leadership ideology is that of a crusader. He's an Islamist and a staunch right-wing conservative. This goes against what is the mainstream beliefs in Turkey, which is a very liberal Islamic country. But Erdogan, despite this, has proven that he is willing to use the means available to him to achieve his goals. This was best shown with the dealings with the protesters in the media crackdown back in 2013 and how he dealt with the miners' strike. Erdogan's politics are very different from how Turkey is traditionally. Since its foundation as a republic, Turkey has been a bastion of Western culture, values, and very liberal democracy. In the Middle East, Erdogan's policies are more attuned to his neighbors. Erdogan is a conservative and an Islamist, and recently his restriction on the media and internet spurred mass protests and has received harsh criticism. Surprisingly, though, Erdogan has been the only Turkish leader to just treat the Kurdish people justly, and he's very popular amongst them because of that. Erdogan and the Kurds have somewhat of a special relationship, as he has gone against the flow when it comes to how he deals with them. He's preached a policy of acceptance and inclusion of the Kurdish people within general Turkish society and has been promoting bilingualism. But still, he is vehemently opposed to the independence of Kurdistan, as it would be a direct harm to Turkey and his own political position. Now, onto Kurdistan and Israel. In recent times, Israel and Iraq's autonomous region of Kurdistan have enjoyed a very close and mutual beneficial relationship. As a result of the current ISIL conflict, the Kurdish region of Iraq is more or less a de facto independent country, and in exchange for weapons, Israel and Iraqi Kurdistan have agreed on a multi-million-dollar oil deal. As well, in general, the Kurdish and Israelis have had a friendly relationship in the Middle East, which is something Israel views in high regard and is very sure to try to protect. The Israelis and the Kurds actually have a longer history. It was discovered by a Norwegian German scientist that found a link between the Jewish population of Israel and the Kurdish population. This suggests that they are actually a related people, and this finding could greatly connect the two peoples of these countries and unite them on a level deeper than just a realpolitik relationship. Currently, the political climate in Israel, and ever since really its foundation, is kind of at an attentive one. Israel is beset on all sides by neighbors who have mixed claims over its lands and resources, and Israel is always in a state of mind where it needs to defend itself. As well, the ongoing Palestinian conflict causes many problems for Israel, and Turkey's backing and support of Palestine has dampened the relations between these two Western countries in the Middle East. The current leader, Netanyahu, is a leader who is a strategist. He's an individual whose goals are clear and his ambitions, but he's willing to work with others to compromise and achieve this. This was best well seen when he was dealing with Gaza, and he waited until he could agree with a compromise with the opposition parties and have a full parliamentary support for Israel's dealings with Gaza in their airstrikes earlier this year. Politically, Netanyahu is a Zionist like most Israeli politicians and is a center-right politician. His main goal for Israel is the stability and their safeguarding of their borders. Netanyahu is opposed to the Palestinian movement and has been very vocal for Israel's involvement in Gaza. This has drawn him at odds with Turkey and Erdogan, and pretty much all of Israel's neighbors. But Netanyahu and the Kurds have a very special relationship, as Netanyahu has been very vocal and supportive of Kurdish independence and the movement. He is quoted as saying, "The Kurdish people are a fighting people that have proved its political commitment, political moderation, and deserve political independence." The reasons for Kurdistan's existence was a historical precedent, and such as the times of the Islamic caliphs, there have always been existed these different Kurdish principalities in the Kurdistan region. As well, following the idea of one nation, one country, the Kurdish people deserve their own country, independent of their own self to rule. And an independent Kurdistan would also eliminate strife between the Kurds and the other ethnic groups of the Middle East. Now, the Kurdish gains on an independent Kurdistan, for once the Kurds would be able to rule themselves, they would have direct control of their economy, and as well, they would not have this conflict with the Turks and the Arabs in these different countries. The Turks, though, lose a lot on an independent Kurdistan. If an independent Kurdistan was founded, including the Turkish parts of the region, then the Republic of Turkey would lose the eastern half of their entire country and up to a fourth of their population. Though, even if this is not included, an independent Kurdistan could rile the Kurdish population of Turkey up and restart the fighting with the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Erdogan personally would lose a lot to an independent Kurdistan, as he would become majorly unpopular, he would lose tremendous amounts of support, and would be viewed as the leader who lost half of Turkey. Israel, on the other hand, would gain a lot from an independent Kurdistan, and Israel would gain a new trade partner, a new military ally, and a friendly neighbor in the Middle East. Netanyahu would also gain a lot personally because he would get a huge surge of popularity and tremendous amounts of support because he found Israel a new neighbor who was an ally to them right there in the Middle East, which is something they desperately want and need. In conclusion, though, the Kurdish people historically have proven that they are hardworking, determined people who actively are seeking their independence. They have received a lot of media attention right now. Turkey and Erdogan are clearly opposed to their independence, while the Israelis somewhat sit on the side and quietly support it. Either way, only time will tell. Thank you.